What is up, everybody? Rajay back in the house. Tuesday night live stream action taking place. And tonight we're going to actually get into another live stream spotlight. I'm going to actually bring up Ryan and Chris from Bruz Beers. And we're going to be talking about, it's close to the heart, the Belgian style beers they're putting out in Colorado. So that being said, let's go ahead and welcome them up here. And great to see you both. Thank you for joining on this evening, and thanks to Em over at Radcraft for getting us together. We got to thank her as well too. So but this is awesome. So kind of getting into it, we're going to talk about the little mini movie documentary video that you guys had put out about being in Bruges, which is awesome. For those of you also watching here, you can find that link on the community tab over on YouTube, where I shared that earlier to go into their video. But we're going to talk about it and maybe get a little bit of that tapped in here so you can kind of see some sneak peeks with it. And then I just said it, Belgian. I mean, I'm all ears. I'm kind of like anything with Belgian, I'm always on board with. Chris just asked me about before. I said, well, Belgian's my top style. Once I got into craft beer, I got into drinking a lot of the, I told him my first beer that got me into it was Ithaca's Flower Power, which is an IPA. But then as I explored, I started getting into Duvels and things like that from out of Belgium. It was just like game on. So yeah, always love the style. But what is it about the style that has you now doing this out at Bruz Beer? Like, why did you bring it to the States? Like, what got you pumped up about the Belgian style of beers?
Yeah, it's a good question, Ryan. Again, thanks for having me on, and Chris as well, and M at Radcraft, no doubt. But yeah, I fell in love with Belgian style beer when I was backpacking Europe during college. So late 90s, I was over there, and I was, like any good college student at the time, I was on my way to Amsterdam, probably to hit up a library or something, something educational, I'm sure. And I ended up at a train change in Brussels. And so I had about 2 hours to kill. And I said, hey, let's jump in and find a pub and see what's good to drink. And I didn't know anything about Belgium at the time. Right. So I asked for a beer, and the guy brings me literally a Bible of beers. And I didn't recognize a single style, a brand, anything. So he comes back and says, what beer do you want? I said, what do you drink? He goes, triple. And I didn't know what a triple was. I said, oh, triple. Yeah, of course.
Of course.
and then he follows it up with triple Carmelite. And I don't know if he cussed at me or what. I just said triple Carmelite. That's what I'll take. I'll take one of those. And I'll never forget it, man. He brings this beer to the table. It's got this incredible glass, a triple Carmelite glass, and it's got this huge head of foam on there. And I just couldn't believe what it was. The presentation alone just blew me away. And so I have that first sip, and I can still taste that first sip of triple. And it changed me. I didn't know at the time, but I started going back to Brussels and then Bruges, and I started bringing some of my friends who were over there backpacking college with me. And I mean, it's funny to think that, I started guiding friends to Belgium almost immediately because I was so enthralled by this beer and this culture and this whole world where they drop a book of beers, 300 beers on your table, and that's legal. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Did you end up developing a favorite brewery over there in Belgium at all? Is it like one you always look to get back to and kind of get ideas from to bring back over here in the States, or you just try to get around to different ones?
I mean, Chris can talk to that too. We go to so many great breweries now. We guide this trip every year over there, and we've got friends now. And yeah, there's so many favorites. Obviously Triple Carmelite holds a special place in my heart because it was the OG for me, but the Belgian triple style is still my favorite, triples and golden strongs. And so, it just depends on where we're at in the country and what we're looking to do. Some of these breweries, I love them for their tours and their adventure on that side. Some of them, I just like the people so much that I frequent them, and others I'm in love with a specific beer or two. And there's such a wide array of options for beers and beer tours over there. We could spend an entire
Did he freeze or did I freeze?
He froze. He froze.
Okay, just want to make sure.
You froze for a second, brother.
Oh, okay.
You did an entire F, and then you froze there. So I think I knew where you were going there for sure. What about you, Chris? I mean, like some of the Belgian appetite you've kind of developed now.
Yeah,
doing the stuff with Bruz.
Years ago, there was a place in Denver called the Cheeky Monk, and that was a Belgian beer house in Denver from years past. I remember going there one night. It was off of, I think they were on Colfax, Ryan, someplace like that. And I remember going and really not knowing what I was drinking, but knowing that it was really different and really unique. And then when I started working with the brewery and kind of tasting the stuff that Ryan and everybody at the brewery's doing as a photographer there, social media stuff. And then when I started to travel, that's when it all just kind of, you can see the inspiration, you can see the people, the culture, the food. I've been so fortunate to be able to travel and to go to places like Orval where the beers are so specific and the location is, fairy tale stuff, So for me, the appreciation for the way that the beers are brewed and the history and tradition, but then also the Belgians are all about not having a real formula all the time necessarily. And I think that's what's exciting about it is different things are subtle and flavor profiles kind of blow your mind. And just when you see an actual monk making beer, it kind of blows your mind a little bit. And I think when you've had that experience, and I've been lucky enough to do that, you get a real appreciation for the craft of it, literally the craft. So nice. Super fortunate.
Yeah, Belgium is definitely on the list of places I want to get to. Of course, my wife understands if we ever go, I might not come back because
understood.
Yeah. Yep. We may have to stay if we actually go, but always some amazing things out of there. And one of the things I got a chance to talk with some of the folks last year when I went to the Brewers Conference in Indianapolis, some of the people from over in Belgium was talking about kind of some of their fermentation type tactics and also talking about some of the yeast type things. And is that something you kind of look at too? Some things you bring back over here, kind of anything that amazes you about like some of their brewing techniques that you're able to kind of copy or build upon, I should say.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, every time we go over, we're inspired by something. Yeast is everything in Belgian beer, right? So, as an example, where we are, we brew with over 100 different yeast strains in a year. So, there's a lot of breweries that have one or two yeast strains, and that's what they brew everything with. And we're very yeast heavy because we're Belgian style, and yeast is everything to us. So we will go out and search and get people to help us blend. We have a lab here called Propagate Lab, and he does all of our yeast for us. And so whatever we come up with, he's able to isolate certain strains for us, clean it up, and then grow it up for us, and then keep it on file. So we've created some really unique yeast blends that are essentially proprietary to that beer, that specific beer. And then we just keep it going every year through Propagate Labs. And so, yeast is a big one. We're always inspired by that. You talked a bit about process. Obviously, process over there is everything. You look at a brewery like Cantillon who does lambics, right? And they are the epicenter of that, and how they do that with open fermentation and naturally cooling overnight. Whatever yeast is in the air will inoculate the beer. Those types of methods are just so inspiring. You have to come back and try it on the stateside.
All right. Yeah, definitely. And just a comment here as well. For those of you watching back on the YouTube channel, whether it's live or the replay, at the top of the comments, you have a link here. We're going to show the website here in a bit, but if you get a chance, check that out. And if you're listening back on the podcast, I will have the link to the website there in the description as well. You mentioned triple being your favorite.
Yeah.
Why triple? Why not double? Why not quad? You find it's like Goldilocks. You just it's the one that just kind of fits you the best, that middle bed, so to speak. Because I'm more of a quad kind of guy, but I like to go big and go hard sometimes. So I'm just kind of curious what made it go with the triple for you. Is it just
triple's my go-to on a regular everyday level. Quad is definitely my go-to. We live in Colorado. It's winter. When I shovel or when it's snowing, I got to have a quad. That's the rule.
Right.
Get the fireplace going, get a quad. All winter quads, obviously. Triple's my day-to-day go-to. It's an easy one for me, but I'm very enthralled by doubles and quads, and we make some really great quads at Bruz. But it's they're just so big and so strong, and you don't need a lot of them.
Fair point.
But it sounds like, Rod, you're kind of a guy for a hop guy as well, which is very Belgian, right? We're probably the least usage of hops in any brewery here in the Colorado area, probably because we're Belgian, and it's very malt forward and yeast forward, which is totally different than what most breweries are doing in the U.S. Obviously, I mean, IPAs are king, and when we started this brewery 10 years ago, they all told us, they said, you can't do just Belgian styles. You'll never make it. Here we are 10 years later, we've got 2 locations. We're under contract for a 3rd location now. And, we're cranking out some awesome, fun Belgian beers, and we have not swayed. I mean, we stick to it. We have a Belgian style IPA, and it's obviously popular, but people come to us from far away to experience non-IPAs. And, regularly we're getting people in the door saying, "Oh my gosh, you don't have 8 or 10 IPAs on the list.
Hazy IPAs and grapefruit, whatever's.
Yeah. Donut beers and gold flakes in the beer. I always say we're very spoiled and lucky. We kind of push ourselves all the time because we don't have to chase trends. We don't have to try to figure out what the next gimmick is. We just get to brew like old historic styles, make them better, and enjoy that ride. So we're pretty spoiled when it comes to the beer world.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you said the IPA, the king thing. And I always bring up at times it's like the chicken and the egg for me. Like, are IPAs big because they're always being pushed on people, or are they maybe big because people know what else to ask for, so they always stick with IPA? Because when you get people trying different beer styles, they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a beer." You get somebody a nice brown ale, a nice, porter stouts. They get their little bit of room at the table as well. But you get them something like you mentioned, a golden ale, or you get them some other different styles. When I found out what a Schwarzbier was, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is solid." And then when I found out what a Rossbier was, I was like, "Okay, now I'm here for all the smoke. I'm here." So so you find different styles when your universe is expanded. And I think a lot of breweries, they may limit themselves because they don't expand their universe. And obviously there's a concern, I think, for some of them because if we expand it and it doesn't sell, then we're kind of screwed. But at the same point, there might be that opportunity like you have found. When I was in Baltimore, before coming back to Cincinnati a few years ago, they actually have a brewery there called the Guilford Brewery. And all they do is European style ales. You walk in, there's no IPAs, even there's an English IPA. Right. And they are always like got people in there, and people like that little refreshing break. You could try other stuff. They have Belgian on tap. They have different types of lagers. They all different. They just stuff in. Now they did recently in the last couple of years buy one of the Jersey breweries that went under that had more of the IPA type thing, but they don't put it in the brewery as far as on taps, but they'll sell it out in the cans to keep that line alive for them. So I think opportunities are there, but I just think there's that double-edged concern. I like to go for it, but if nobody buys it, then I'm screwed. I think some breweries would like to expand out. So it's hard to find a niche. And how did you guys feel comfortable getting your niche in?
Well, I knew from that experience in Europe that we had to bring that over here and we had to share it somehow. I found a guy, Charlie Gottenkinney, who helped me start the brewery. He was very much the brew side. He knew how to steer a recipe and create some of that magic. And so together we knew that this was special. And again, everyone's telling you at the time you couldn't do it, but you fast forward to right now and you look, the breweries that are really doing well in these markets, a lot of them are hyper focused, just like we are. You know, I think it's very hard to open a brewery right now and try to be everything to everyone. I think, you know, being laser focused and being really good at what you do is a blessing right now, which is funny because 10 years ago they said it was a curse and it would never happen. So, you know, I think the market has matured. People understand beer better. You know, the flavor palates of our customers has risen immensely over 10 years. And so, you know, you can't just open a brewery and survive. It's got to be well done. It's got to be dialed in. And I think it's got to have some purpose. And I think we hit those pretty hard.
Yeah.
I was going to add to that too, Rod, just as because I'm also a customer there, you know, and I see it from the customer side as opposed to you know, like a fanboy as well. But the idea of, you know, the traditional single, double, triple, quad is kind of always there. But what I love about the brewery and what I think makes, you know, they'll have a golden strong, but there's a variation for it in the summer and the spring, and they have a triple, but there's also a triple that's different in the fall or the spring, or they'll do their version of, you know, a pumpkin ale, but it's not like any pumpkin ale you ever had. And I think there is a real focus on creativity and keeping it fresh for the folks that come in all the time. And I know as their photographer, I have every couple of weeks I'm shooting new beers just to say, okay, new fresh release on Friday. There's a lot of really unique and interesting things going on there all the time. And I don't know. It's pretty cool where they're not just sitting on the same 6 or 7. I mean, I suppose there is a core group, but it's always something new every time you turn around.
Yeah. Now, Chris, have you developed like a favorite? Do you have a favorite style of the Belgians yet?
I'm such a sucker for a triple too. I really am.
There's no extra points for following Ryan.
No. No, trust me. I do it to spite him, actually. No. I actually have always loved the triple because it's kind of that nice balance point of it's got a little bit more alcohol punch, but it also has just such a great, incredible yeast character. But I'll be honest, and it's in the video that we shot when we went to Dahara, which is in the short film, that particular location, the first time I went there, I think it was 2021 was the first time I went to Dahara. I've never had anything like that particular beer, and we highlight, you know, specifically when we get into that
house triple.
That house triple. And I think there's something about just that really great balance. And I would argue the triple that the guys at the brewery are making is right up there with it. I mean, it's considered one of the best triples. And I think, I don't know, I've been really, really fortunate to be able to try some pretty cool different types of beers. And
awesome.
Yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll show that video here in a second too. But some great photography and video work, just some of the sites and stuff, and great narration there with you, Ryan, as well, going through everything.
That's all Chris. You know, I just show up and drink beer and talk about it, Rod, and Chris makes it all flow together and look good. I don't know how he does it. He's got the hard job here.
Yeah, wrangling a cat like him running around. Yeah, sometimes.
Well, if I do get over there, I'll be like one of those kids looking for Pokemon, trying to find that back alley one that you went to that you mentioned in the video. So,
yeah.
I think that's what's really exciting though about these kinds of trips, and especially Ryan really does have I mean, there was stuff that when we were filming this last trip, I've been lucky enough to go as a photographer and videographer on a couple of the full 10-day tours. So I've been to a lot of places in Belgium over the years. Even though I'd been to Bruges, I think this is my 4th or 5th time in Bruges, I still was fine. He was, wait a minute, let's poke down this alleyway. This is and that some of the stuff that we filmed wasn't necessarily on our shot list for the day. And there's still secrets that little amazing city just brings out every time you go. And I think that's really the kick-ass aspect of that country is there's so much depth when you start to kind of wander around those little side streets. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, well, the food looked incredible too that you were
God, they're
getting a chance to enjoy.
Suffered through that,
yeah. And would you, I guess, one question I would have for you too, because you may see this since you're kind of doing the Belgian style beers at the brewery there. What do you think, like, most Americans miss about Belgium? Like, is there like a pre-notion thought they may have, and then they get surprised? Like, you know, is it maybe like the drinkability? Is it the flavor? Is it something like they're like, oh, I didn't know it could be like, is there something that you kind of see?
You know what? One of those, Rod, is sours, right? So a lot of people have in their mind what they think a sour is. But until you've had a proper, well done multi-year process sour, and not a kettle sour, not a 2 or 3 day souring process, I think that's been one of the big surprises for a lot of people. They'll come in and say, well, I don't like sours. And I'll go, great, let's sit down and taste some sours. And they'll look at me like I'm crazy, right? And I'm like, I think we do this. And by the time we're done tasting some of our proper sours that are in foeders and they take several years to make, they're like, they're blown away. They look at you and they go, you're right. I like sours. And I'm like, well, you like certain sours, right? You don't like the quick, manifested ones that a lot of the breweries in the US do, because we just don't have the tank space, right? A brewery in America is made, a lot of them are just made to crank out about a 2-week brew process, get it out of the fermenter, get the next one in. Space is tight, space is equipment is expensive. And so that whole process gets very fast forwarded. When you go to Belgium, it's not that way. So when we designed our brewery, we created a lot of extra space for a lot of extra tanks that we knew were not going to crank out a lot of beer, but they were going to crank out 1 or 2 special batches a year. And so having that, ability to do something like that, I think really surprises people. The sours is a big one. I think the other one is, again, with turnover of tanks and equipment, a lot of breweries, they'll just try 1, maybe 2 Belgian styles, but they can't leave it in that tank as long as they maybe should. So, a lot of people come in thinking Belgian beers are sweet, and they shouldn't be. Most Belgian beers are balanced and nice and dry at the end. But they're right in the fact that if they've been drinking a lot of American-made Belgian style beers, they probably didn't ferment completely out because of the time issue, and they were sweet. And so I think between the sours and the sweetness, those are the 2 things that we're always up against.
Okay. And thinking about some of the Belgian styles, are there any that you find now that you really respect, but maybe at one point earlier you kind of overlooked or maybe didn't think to pay enough time to those type things, and it was kind of like, I can't believe I missed out. Like, it just hits you like, okay, this is really something that needs to be enjoyed more or talked about. Like, like, are there any kind of styles you can mention like that as well?
Chris, you have one of those?
I do, actually. I know this is going to sound like really crazy, but I always thought there was a lot of, because in the beer world, or the Belgian beer world, like St. Bernardus, the 12 that they have, I always thought that was kind of a little bit overblown, and I hadn't had it. So I was doing this in a vacuum. Like, I was like, oh, is it really as good as it? Is it really? And I finally had one, like a big dope. I finally had one. I was like, wow, this is really as good as they say. And I feel like a bit of an idiot, but it is a really, really, really good beer. I've had it here and I've had it there. It's a little better there, but because of the travel time on it. But it kind of blew me away how good it was.
Yeah, it's a great beer.
I know that sounds really strange, but it was one of those things where I just kept saying, there's no way it's as good as everybody says. It is. It is. I'll take the win on that one and the loss at the same time.
What about you, Ryan? Did you have one as well, or?
I'm like you, Rod. I kind of go big. I go triple and quad a lot, and so I didn't pay a whole lot of attention early on to to the table beer and the Belgian single, and those have come, I think, a long way for me, because I never really played in that arena personally. It had to be a double, triple, quad. It had to be big. It had to be, up there. And I have a newfound appreciation certainly for the table beer. We make a beer called Brussels table beer, but I really like these table beers that we've been cranking out, and the grisettes that we've done over the last few years. Those are really good. And again, they just really weren't on my radar. I was more of a purist on those big Belgians, and there's a whole world down on that bottom side that makes sense. And with the way some of this market is going now, these lower ABV, more approachable, sessionable ales and beers in general are getting more popular, and so that just made sense for us.
Okay. Yeah, I think with me, it might have been more some of the lambics. I think when I first came across them, and everybody like how good they are, I'm like, we're like 3%. Like, just a kid. How many knows they got to drink, right? And then you have it, and it's just like, that's one of those beers that makes you realize it's not about the ABV. It's about enjoying the ride and just chilling and relaxing with it. Because when you have that lambic, it is just such a smooth taste to it. You just sit back and enjoy, and especially if you're having like one of the raspberry type lambics there, or Lindemans there on a summer type day, put your feet up. You're enjoying life at that point. So it's like, okay.
I'm with you. Those fruited sours and those lambics they're a journey, right? It's an experience. I would describe a lambic as an experience, and most people probably haven't had it. And I would urge you to go out and find a proper lambic and take your time and pour it with a table full of friends and share it and talk about it. That to me is an incredible journey to go on, sharing a bottle of lambic with some friends. And I think you hit it on the head, because it often gets overlooked.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like you mentioned, with the sour, people go in thinking, oh, it's a sour, it'd be like another sour. Like I tell people, like, I'm not sour, like I'm like you, same thing. We'll try this, it's like they're not all the same. So there's so many different styles that are in the style of the sour type category. It's kind of like just like IPAs. One of my other buddies, his wife never was an IPA fan until she had like Bell's Two Hearted IPA, and all of a sudden she was like, oh, this is different. Like, it's all a matter of finding the one that kind of hits you the way it hits you. So I always say, except I struggle with shandies, but that's a whole different story. But
I get that.
But I say keep trying out there for sure. But let's take a look at the website here. I'll pull that up and kind of share some stuff as well. Website is definitely pretty cool to check out with the different things you're doing out there in Colorado. We do have a few people that watch, I know, that are out in that area. But, bringing that passion of the Belgian to the brewery here. And I like that glass. That glass is sweet.
Yeah, we're big on glassware. Obviously, everything Belgian goes in the proper glass. So, we're big on glassware for sure.
And for you folks watching, you know about the Rod J deal. I'm all about deals. Look at this. Crowler Tuesdays, half price Crowlers, just saying. Nice little deal. You know the Rod J deal channel that takes place here. But I love the setup, the style that's kind of the brewery itself. Seems to be like a nice, welcoming, chill type vibe, and come in and enjoy. And nowadays more than ever, when you set up your brewery, it's got to have something too. We talk about this on the channel. It's got to, like you said earlier, you can't be just, I make good beer. I think I make good beer, right? You got to have a destination type factor. And this is something I think you're actually bringing to the area where you kind of have this there to be like, oh, let's go spend half the Saturday down at Bruz, or let's go down there after work for a happy hour type thing, or whatever it may be. You're kind of setting that table, and you got a lot of good stuff. It looks like that's happening out there, which is kudos to you as well. Got the different things here with the trivia, beer and dumpling pairing. Well, that's interesting. So
the one right next to it, that Flanders ale, that's an example of some of the educational stuff that we do, Rod. And so, I discovered Belgian beer in Belgium I get that a lot of people don't have the time or the money to go over there and drink beer with me for almost 2 weeks. So this was our way to bring it to you. So you can come to one of these classes. This one's going to be just on Flanders ales, so red brown ales. And we'll take you through a whole process of how those beers are made. We'll try 5 or 6 different styles of that beer, and you'll walk away from that having an appreciation, kind of an in-depth knowledge of a particular style. We also do every month or two we do a class called World of Belgian Beers, where you come in and we'll taste a dozen up to 15 different beer styles, and we'll teach you all about them, the flavor profiles, the history, where they're located within the country, that type of stuff. And so those are just some fun classes that are kind of born out of the excitement that we had over there, and we're trying to bring it to you here in the United States. It's kind of the baby step towards maybe going on one of our trips one day, but you can't. That's okay. We can still educate you and share some incredible beers with you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second too. I'm sorry, you gonna say something, Chris?
I was just going to say too, and maybe you will get to it. One of the things that actually helps folks that don't really know the Belgian beer landscape is these kind of smaller steps into it, whether it's paired with dumplings or a Girl Scout cookie pairing, where you have a Girl Scout cookie and a beer that's paired with it. Just it gets people's palates, and I think that also underlines, at least from my experience, you mentioned it briefly, Rod, just Belgian food and beer goes so incredibly well together. And I think the flavor of all that really plays through, not just in, how the beer is brewed, but also, whether it's a food truck that has a specific type of a pairing, or whether it's an internal, pairing that goes on, whether it's a cheese pairing or what have you. It really helps people understand that, in a way, what I really have always loved about Belgian beers, it's almost, beer can be like a wine, because people are used to wines being paired and wines having certain vintages and what have you. And Belgian beer is a lot the same way, where it can feel really appropriate with certain types of food and in food, And I think people don't necessarily, I don't know if people necessarily grasp that. And this is a nice, I don't know, the brewery is a really cool way to do it and not have it be too heavy-handed,
Yeah, I think that, you're definitely hitting it right on the head there with that. I think sometimes we talk about some of the pairings, and people look at it more now because it's out there more now with pairing beer with food. But even in that, it's kind of limited on what you kind of see. Right. Somebody's having a beer with wings, or beer with pizza, or beer, burgers. There's so many different things you can actually do. Like, one of the things having like some of the dessert type stouts is taking that and pairing it with like a decadent type chocolate dessert, right? Yeah. So, and some of the Belgian type stuff, like I think it is like a Belgian Golden Ale. When I'm doing like reviews, sometimes it's like, this has that feel where you can put this with a type of salad, maybe ahi tuna, something where it's not going to overwhelm and it's going to play off of each other. Or you have this nice dark quad or whatever, and you have this with a nice sirloin cut steak or something. There's different ways you can actually have fun with it. And there's also some of the dessert type Belgian stuff too that you can have with like a chocolate raspberry torte or whatever it may be.
Yeah, of course.
So there's all kinds of ways to play with it, and it actually works so well together if you know how to put that stuff. So I think it's great that you guys are doing a class there teaching people on how to do that with different foods. And like the trivia nights, do you do anything there like to maybe work in more of the Belgian type trivia or knowledge to help people when they leave, they walk away with more knowledge maybe about Belgium than when they walked in?
No, we don't at all.
Not a bad idea, though.
That's our night where we just let it rip. We just go straight trivia.
Yeah. Hey, if it works, it works. But I just think it'd be a great opportunity to kind of do that, and they can kind of leave with a little bit of Belgian culture to take home, right? So
yeah, I like that.
That's where the opportunities.
Taking notes.
So, Chris, you need a marketing partner.
There you go.
Reach out to, right?
I like it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But to have fun with it and take a look here with some of the drink as well. So how many taps do you usually run out there on the beer? Is it
Yeah, we've got 20 taps at both of our tasting rooms, and so we're always cranking through. You know, you can see some of this, that beat down saison on the bottom right there. That talk about a food pairing beer. That's an incredible beer. We used to grow all the beets in the garden behind the brewery, and then when they were ready, we'd harvest them and then create the beet saison. You know, but that's a example of one of those kind of seasonal beers. That grape saison, we went over to the Western Slope, the Talbot family, and they operate a whole farm over there, and they've got grapes and peaches and all sorts of great stuff. So we drive over there once or twice a year and hand pick, you know, the fruits and the grapes and everything, and bring them over and put them right into the fermenter. I mean, it's not frozen, it's not processed. It's if something says fruit on our menu, it's because there's real fruit in it. We don't use any fake flavors or colors or any of that stuff. So, but that's the fun part. That's the rewarding part, is brewing with the season and brewing with what's available locally. You know, we always say we're Belgian inspired, but we're Colorado made. So we use a lot of Colorado ingredients. We're well over 90% Colorado ingredients. You know, there's some specialty grains, and there's a couple of specialty hops that we can't buy, but majority of our hops, almost all of our grain, and most of our fruit is coming from within the state of Colorado, which, you know, for us is important. Our grain is coming 45 minutes north of the brewery. I mean, we're so spoiled there with root shoot malting and what that's a family business, a family farm that also malts their own grains there on site. And then they drive it down themselves in a truck to our brewery. And why, you know, it just doesn't make sense to try to buy grain half a world away if we can get it less than an hour away.
Yeah, that's the great thing with a lot of the craft beer type world, is keeping it in the community and stuff too. So that's awesome to have all those around you to be able to pull from. And I got to say, I love seeing 3 saisons on tap. It's hard to find one at some spots, if any. So to have 3 out there with different flavor profiles is awesome. And, you know, the Brett table beer, like, how often do you find yourself having to explain Brett to anyone, or like your people there? Because like, I'll get questions about it too. Like, if people ask me what it is, and I can explain it to them, but is that something that kind of, you know, that pops up? Like,
yeah, it does. You know, our crew is really educated, and it's fun. Like when we get those questions, we kind of lean into it and enjoy that conversation. And we'll pour them several samples and show them. You know, sometimes we'll have the Brett table beer right next to the regular table beer with no Brett, and so you can try them side by side and really see what that Brett does to the beer. You know, we just enjoy that, again, that educational side, and it's something that's a little bit different, but we get to play in that arena a lot.
Nice. Yeah, you get the L's for ALS, so that's kind of a thing that you're doing it for raising for that as well, or?
Yep. Yeah, we're raising money for ALS there. So they donated the hops, and then Chris did an entire video of that to try to promote some more sales for that. And then the money goes back to support the ALS, which is really cool. And obviously our take is a little bit different. There's breweries across the country that are doing it with those hops, but our take on it is totally different because it's Belgian, and I just hadn't seen a lot of those. That Dog Days IPA, that's been on with us since day one. It's extremely popular, obviously being in America, but that Abbey Triple, that's what I'm sipping on right now. That's our go-to. That Diablo Colorado is 100% Colorado ingredients for a Golden Strong. So we call, Golden Strongs in Belgium are traditionally named after some sort of devil name. And so ours being Diablo Colorado, the Colorado Devil, being all Colorado ingredients, we've enjoyed that. The Rod Special there, the quadruple, the Abbey.
I like that name.
You'd like the one right below it, Rod, that Bruiser.
That's a good one.
Super malty, kind of like a Scotch ale direction, but with a Belgian yeast strain, and it's just malty and awesome in the winter.
Yeah, it's a great selection of different things that you actually have here, from the different brews, and
that bottom beer there, that Bruz, Yeah, you know that one well, Chris. You want to talk about that one?
Well, what's the name of the one that the original version of it that we had?
Oh, Deus.
Deus, yeah. Holy moly, that Brut Le Grand, I had never heard of anything like this before, where it's neither has my wife, because boy, she enjoyed that too. It is the smoothest. I don't even really it's so light, and the alcohol is so high, but it doesn't taste that way. It's like a 12%, and even sometimes a teeny bit higher, but it's this golden, smooth, beautiful. And it's just, everyone looks forward to it. It's in the fall and in towards Christmas when we release it, and people come running, and it comes in this beautiful corked bottle, and it's just absolutely a killer. And it's one of the most flavorful ones we make. It's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, it's a treat. It comes out just once a year. It takes us 9 months to make it.
Yeah.
I think there's just a handful of breweries in the world that'll really attempt that style, because it's such a laborious process. You're continually adding yeast and sugar through a 9-month process, and it's Deus and Malheur would be the two in Belgium that were our inspiration for that style of beer. And it is a brut beer. It's a champagne style beer. And it's just special. So, it's on through usually through the end of February, middle of February, we run out of it, and then it'll come out again in November. So we brew that beer this month to release it in November. And that's another one of those beers that literally there's one tank in the brewery committed to producing that beer, the Brut Le Grand.
It's crazy.
So,
Okay.
It's fun though. It's a special beer.
It's so good. And it's so, people look forward to it like literally opening a present at Christmas. It's that, excited.
And you also have like the food op. So you have a menu for the tap room, and I know you have a food truck.
Yep.
And then you do a kitchen just for like dinner, I guess, like 4 to 8 it says here, or.
So we've got the tap room menus like pizzas and local easier food for us to produce, but then we do a food truck every day. So that's our way of kind of mixing it up. We get some of the best food trucks in town. And so we do a food truck every day at the Midtown location, and it's just become this, people kind of plan their week around our food trucks, really. So they know they're cooking at home on Monday, but they know the burger truck is there on Tuesday, so they're coming to Bruz on Tuesday. We do this fishwife, tinned fish. That's
what is this fit? My wife's hooked on fish. She's hooked on fishwife now. Like, you go to the store, give me some fishwife. Like, what are you talking? She orders it. I'm like, I gotta. Is it that good?
Oh yeah,
it is.
It is really good. We sell that. You pair that with a beer. That's always kind of fun. But you can look at some of these food trucks. I mean, they're just epic. And our thought was, instead of trying to run a kitchen and hit it out of the park, we wanted the different rotating trucks and start to build those relationships and let these guys shine with what they do. We've got amazing chefs in the Denver metro area, and for us to be distracted to try to make our own food and run an entire staff and kitchen just didn't make sense. Our focus was on the beer. There's plenty of great people that make great food, and together we sell more food and beer. And so that's kind of been our process from the beginning, and it's still true. Now we're working on a third location on the west side of town, and it'll have built-in food truck stalls as well. We continue to do that. We believe in that model. I know several breweries in town that are full-on brew pubs with a full kitchen, and I can tell you the bandwidth it takes to run that side of the business is immense, and to us it just seemed like more of a distraction.
Gotcha. Well, with the logistics of things, from what I know too, it can be kind of a mess having the food in the brewery as well. So a lot of breweries will opt to have a partnership, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say too, the food truck thing is great, because I really do feel like there's so many great local Colorado Front Range, food trucks that they have an opportunity to come to the brewery every day. There's a new one every day. So some breweries may not have stuff until the weekends, but they can rotate through. And as somebody that lives in the neighborhood, I look for the food truck every day, because here's the move, Ron. What I do is I'll go to the food truck. I'll say to my wife, "Oh, it's whatever, it's crazy Thai food truck today." So I'll go order Thai food, but I go into the bar and I'll have a beer while they cook the food, and then I'll and then I'll have my beer and be able to, and then I'll walk home with the food. And it's either way, you're still at the brewery, you're still enjoying it, even if you're not hanging out that time for the full day. So it's a good little cheat code if you want to enjoy a beverage without getting too far away.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, the funny thing, because I have to ask a question, you got the Belgian beers, but there was no Belgian truck. Does anybody do like a Belgian recipe or anything for any time? Do you mix it up with a Belgian
we get them sometimes. We've had a Belgian frites trucks in the past.
Okay.
We've had some Belgian waffle trucks in the past.
Yeah, the waffles,
yeah, they're not as prevalent as I think they should be. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Belgium, and I know how incredible the food is. And I think someone could hit a Belgian food truck out of the park for sure. And if someone wants to run that side of it, we'll certainly give our input. I fully support you.
Yeah. We have a restaurant here, and they do Belgian waffles and stuff like that. It's a Belgian restaurant, but they also have like the beer and stuff too. So
wow.
They do a lot of good stuff after hours, like after the Reds game, because they're down by the Red Stadium and the Bengal Stadium, a couple other locations around town. But after the stadium, people let out. People go there, get something to eat, have some beer. So they get like a nice little crowd that actually comes through for sure.
Great.
But speaking of Belgium, let's take a look at the Lost in Bruges. I'll pull that up here. You think I should do it with the volume on or the volume off? Would be, you want to talk over it kind of, or you want to?
Yeah, you want to talk over it, Chris? We can talk through it.
Sure. I mean, I can have the volume down, that way it doesn't get like too crazy if you want.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, this was kind of born out of, again, our concept. Chris comes with us almost every year, and we're over there anyway, shooting, guiding our customers and eating and drinking and doing what we do. So we just said, hey, last September when we were there, let's stay a couple extra days and let's shoot some things and see what we can come up with. And that's where this was born out of. It was what we do anyway, but able to share it with the world.
He's not easy in front of the camera.
Yeah. He's really nervous, it looks like. Yeah. But just some of the footage here, as I went through, I was going to move it up to just see some of the sites that you shared, just that take place over there. I mean, it's just breathtaking to see some of the old architecture and things like that, but just the way, it's just looks like a relaxed way of life over there for a lot of stuff, and everybody's just enjoying the different things. You mentioned the frites. You went to the frite truck and stuff here as well, which is pretty cool. And for those of you that also, if you did, I mentioned earlier in case you missed it, but on the community tab, I do have the link here, and I'll put it in the description as well, so you can check out the film. And basically, you can go to actually check out Bruce Beers and subscribe to their channel when you go to the video to catch a lot of this stuff. But just a great way to bring Belgium back for people to actually observe and kind of say, you know what, that might be a cool vacation spot for us to actually go out and hit, because a lot of people that don't get out to maybe see a lot of this stuff don't really know all the good things that might be taking place over there.
I think too, one of the things that we talked about is the fact that because Ryan had been over there as many times as he had, there's a lot of travel that, you watch travel videos and they're all around the world. People are traveling and filming and what have you, but there's not a lot of real beer centric kind of travel where if you had a day or two to spend in Bruges, and you're kind of a beer nerd or someone that's like really into beer, here's a kind of how-to list of where to stay, where to eat, and just the sites that you could see. And I think because Ryan has been there as many times as he has, it's like we need to be talking more about, like he said, I mean, this is like a baby step for someone who eventually may decide to actually travel there. But in the meantime, this is a way to get inspired and to get excited about, that part of the world, which is really easy to get around. It's not intimidating. Most people are speaking English, and the food is just knock your socks off. And of course, the beer is the real hero of all of it. So for us, it just made a lot of sense to be able to find these hidden little areas. And these are the places, like the title says, like get lost. It's not about the square, which is beautiful. The big square where all the restaurants and the horse carriages are. There's a lot of little alleyways, like we already have talked a little bit about, where those are the real places to meet the real people and to have those incredible interactions and those incredible meals.
Yeah, definitely. And I stopped it here because Ryan grabbed two of my favorites when
there you go.
He was in here, Corollas, and then this one here, the Straff Hendrick. Both of those are great ones.
Yeah.
Those are both really good beers for sure.
But then a lady from the store hooked you up with like that one you get at after this, and you like ask her for any of her favorites, and you come out here. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous right now.
That was a little treat the rest of the trip. We said,
that was again an unscripted moment because I wasn't sure what he was going to come out with either.
Yeah, look at it. He's just like a kid from the candy store for sure, and that is freaking awesome.
Yeah, some 20-year-old port out of Portugal, and it was that was a treat. And that's the thing; these little bottle shops over there, they'll have so much good stuff.
Yeah, and then like the video and stuff part of here where you're sharing the food and all the things you're tasting there as well. Scroll up here a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Like just and it's just like you can watch the video and just see how fresh it is just from the video compared to some of the things like we see. It's just a whole different vibe and looks just so fantastic. So yeah,
they do so well on the food side, and this restaurant in particular, it's one that will pair beer with your food, and so it's almost the tapas style. This is Rose Red in Bruges, and so get a reservation because it fills up. It's not a big place, but man, is it quality, and every single item on the menu. These guys are professionals. I mean, they will tell you what beer to pair with that if you don't know. So literally, it's a perfect place to just go and let those guys take you on a journey, and you're not gonna go wrong. I mean, we originally popped in there, I think, for a snack, and we wound up spending 2 or 3 hours there.
The camera work got a little shaky as the night went on, but I'll tell you, for me, but Ryan's so right. This particular place, they were so attentive without being obnoxious, just really attentive about like the beer and what, I mean, obviously Ryan knows what he's talking about, but they also had, would you pair this with? Yeah, let's give that a try. I mean, they were very helpful with just giving it a shot, and boy, they just crushed it every single time. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Well, I think you two did well telling the story because occasionally on the weekends I'll watch like the Food Network and some of the different food channels, with Guy Fieri doing Diner, Driving, and Dives and some of the other things. And I'm like, I found this just as if not more entertaining, just watching you guys kind of go through and share. It was more in my mind authentic. Like it wasn't being like built up to be something like a TV show. It was just really authentic coming through and really experiencing the food and the drink and the whole experience. It's kind of like this could have been, an episode or something on TV, and it would have been just as good to watch, if better. So,
that's great.
I really thought you guys did a great job on it. Then you guys went to the, which I never really knew about the frites as much. I mean, I've had frites before, but I didn't know about the double frying of the frites.
Right here.
The double frying of it is really what makes it good. It's and the waffle here too. I mean, that's the Liège
waffle.
Yeah. Instead of the Brussels or Belgian style waffle, you want the Liège, and I get it as a purist with just the waffle. I don't get anything on it, and I don't think you need anything else. It's that good. I mean, it's really good. It's such a treat, and that's double cooked as well, just like the frites are. So it's doughy in the middle but crispy on the outside, and they've just perfected that process.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because here everybody gets waffle, they get syrup or butter or strawberries on it, but you're just like eating it just this very waffle and just how good it actually is with the fluffiness and everything taking place. And then you're walking past here and I saw the barber. So I have not had one of those in a long time.
That's a great beer.
Yeah.
Great beer.
Yeah. But
this was two brothers that ran this shop for, I don't know how many years, 20, 30 plus years. And they finally are winding down and retiring. But I used to sit in this backyard here and just enjoy beers. And they had a shop up front that you could buy glassware and signage, and they would source all this really cool, unique stuff from like bars that are closing or expanding and the changing concept. And so they would get this really great stuff. So it was almost like a flea market, right? You dig through boxes and find some treats every time. There's some of the glassware they would carry.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're ready to retire. And so Chris and we went back there and just enjoyed a couple of beers and kind of reminisced about how this is going to change. Now, what will the next tenant do? You know, is it going to be the same concept, or will it be something totally different? Maybe it'll be a restaurant next time I go back there. I don't know. It's been this way as long as I can remember. And so we'll see what that next chapter is. I mean, these towns are changing. They're steeped in history, and people tend to do the same thing for their entire life. It's very different than the American lifestyle. And so I don't know. I'm excited to see what the next chapter of that space will be. I'll miss what it was, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I love the story of you when you came back home from college and you got the crate from there. You wrapped the tape around it to take on the plane.
Yeah,
that was a pretty awesome story too.
Yeah. There's the frites right there. You can turn that one
there. Let me.
Yeah, the frites are the thing. They're so amazing.
Yeah, he did a good job of explaining it.
Yeah, I didn't. It's just, you think it literally is a different potato. It's a completely different potato.
Yeah.
They grow there than we do here, and then also the way they cook it, and especially as Ryan saying, like, 11:30, 12 o'clock, you've been going all day. It's like this is going to set you up for a delightful sleep. I mean, it's delicious food, and we had a lot of fun.
I mean, that sauce on it. Wow.
The samurai
sauce is just great.
I mean, mayo is obviously the way to go, but this samurai sauce is my jam over there. I like a little spice, and this is a good way to top off a couple of triples, and then you have that on your walk back to the hotel, and life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the chocolate, of course.
Yeah, I've never I've never did the frites in the mail, but maybe I'm missing out on something there. Maybe that's need to.
It's a little different.
It's a little different.
It is. It's good.
When in Rome, it's like a good thing. But before we get out or anything like that, the European beercation thing that you're kind of doing. So talk a little bit about that, like how you set up different beercations, like where you do the trips and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do about once a year. We'll take a group over. So this last September, we took 38 people with us, and we all went over to Belgium. We create a different tour every year. So it's not an in the box tour. A lot of people will focus. We're just going to guide these 3 or 4 different boxed schedules, and we just don't do that. I mean, we have such an amazing plethora of choices over there. So we build a different trip every year, and we put it out to our customer base, and we put it on our website. It sells out every year. People are like, you could do 2 or 3 of these, every year. And I said, no, that's not what it's about. It's not a money-making profit center for us. It's more of a connection. It's more of replicating what I experienced over there early on, what Charlie experienced early on over there, and allowing you to do that same. So you come with us. All you have to do is show up. I tell you what hotel to show up to at what time. And then from there, we just take you on a journey. And so this last September, we focused heavily on the Ardennes region, which is region to the east, an area that a lot of tourists don't get to because it's a little harder. You can get to Brussels, Bruges, Ghent, Antwerp. Those are pretty easy by train, and you can kind of self-navigate a bit through those. And we touched on a little bit of those. But then once we head east, I mean, we book a luxury coach, and we have a professional driver, and we go at it. I mean, they put extra fridges on the.
I was going to say fridge on board
for us because
Okay.
we got a lot of beer, and we teach everyone they have to go shopping the first couple of days on the trip and pick what I call their coach chalice, the glass they're going to drink out of it in the coach.
Okay.
And yeah, so we'll pop bottles along the way, and we stop at all these really great places. But we were able to focus on the Ardennes, focus on the small breweries. We were able to hit some World War II sites. I always like to sprinkle in a World War I, World War II site. A lot of people don't realize, but Belgium was the front lines for World War I, and they were the front lines for World War II. The Battle of the Bulge is a term a lot of people have heard. That is the Ardennes in Belgium. That is Bastogne.
Wow.
That is where it all took place. So, I feel like we have to fit that in and let people know, yeah, we're spoiled as can be over here eating and drinking, but we also have a lot to be thankful for, and there was a lot of sacrifice to enable us to do what we do today. So we always sprinkle those sites in, and I think they're always welcome. People really appreciate them. But yeah, so we did the Ardennes this time, but really it's just what we enjoy. We build a new trip, and Chris has been on quite a few of our trips, and he can kind of tell you his experiences from more of a customer side and more of a video side. But from my side, it's really just a passion, my way of sharing the energy that I get from Belgium and showing others what, how to get that themselves.
Yeah.
I was going to say the thing I've always loved about the trips is somebody, obviously I'm shooting video and stills, but I'm also looking at people, right? I'm seeing them. I'm looking at them through the lens. And I think one of the things that I've seen more with these trips than any other stuff I've done is that Ryan puts enough downtime around the things to do. Because I think people sometimes feel like, oh gosh, if it's a pre-composed trip that we're always on the move and what have you. I think spending extra time and saying, yeah, we're going to do a brewery tour, but at 1:00 in the afternoon, we'll all have lunch together. And then you have the rest of the day, and we're not seeing you again until the next day until 12 or so. Like there's a lot of time for the wander around whichever city you're in. And I think people run into each other on the trip going to various little pubs or little bars or what have you. And that's really exciting and fun. It's not like every single second is locked down with you have to be in this place or what have you. There's a ton of things to do, or there's also stuff if you want to pull back a little bit, you can too. It's just, for me, I just see people really, I call it a shoulder dropper. They're just like, oh, like they just relax. It's just like, okay. It doesn't feel as heavy and like go. It's just, you can kind of go at your own pace a lot of times. And I think the trips are planned around things like that, which is really, really unique and different.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny too, because, my wife and I, we're not group travelers. In fact, we're traveling in a Sprinter van right now, to kind of get away from it. And so like when we set out to do this, we said, well, we don't want it to be group travel. So how do we create a trip that is with a group, but not group travel? You know what I mean? You're not in a line, you're not a number, you're not. And so
there's no guy with a flag in the front you're following. Right. None of that. No.
Yeah. And so we put our passion into it, and it's worked. It's certainly connected with people. We have people that sign up for multiple years because every year is different. I always say beer brings people together. Well, 2 years ago, we had there was it was a good group of people, and there was one person from out of state, one from in state, and they met on the trip and had a connection. And so the next year they said, "Hey, Ryan, we're coming on the trip, but we're going to share a room."
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
and then they got married, and they had their reception at the brewery. So,
that's awesome.
When I say beer brings people together, I think it's a perfect example of these guys connected in Belgium. They met in Belgium, and now they're married and living in Denver together. And they have that trip to share. And now they've been on 2 of them, and I wouldn't be surprised if they signed up for more. They're an absolutely incredible couple. But just the whole fact that I always say, beer brings people together, and I think that's a perfect example.
Yeah, look at you, Chuck Woolery, out there making a right connection.
I love it. Good reference.
All you younger folk, you have to go Google it.
Chuck Woolery.
But well, Dave from Beerfront, he was saying earlier, we were talking about the beers, how they were just the fruit and everything real and spectacular and stuff too. And then one of my buddies, Ryan, he's actually half of the Cincy Brew Dads. He said, "Triples of spicy food is how I envision heaven."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dave said he's doing his best to talk to the wife about going there. I have to play stupid. Oh, look, they have beer here. I don't think you're going to fool Ruby anymore.
I don't think so.
Yeah. And a Belgian beer trip is a bucket list item for me. So there you go. So maybe Ryan and Dave, we'll get them on your trip there too.
I'd love it. Dave's good people, man. He came out to our Belgian Import Fest this summer, and we got to spend the day together drinking beer. You had mentioned Lindemans earlier, and Dirk Lindemann was actually pouring beer at our beer festival in our backyard, and it was his birthday, so we were able to present him with a cake, and we just had some really cool, unique Belgian breweries fly over to our little home in the middle of the United States and pour beer. We had the head brewer, Delirium, was pouring your beer.
Nice. That was crazy.
It was crazy. I mean, we just had quite the summer, but he was able to spend the day with us and see some of that magic, which was fun.
Wow, that is really cool. And is there anything about Bruz you could say that, like, one lesson that taught you about beer, what that would be?
Oh, what Bruz taught me? It's people. It's the beer industry to me is very much the people business, and it's the part that charges my battery the most is this type of conversation and the conversation over the bar. We've never been a wholesale focused brewery. I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of that side of the business. So we do enough of that to be relevant in the marketplace that we're in. But as far as enjoyment and what really lights our fire, it's the conversation, it's the education, it's the beers over the bar, it's meeting the people, it's putting people together like this, Rod, and those types of conversations. So for me, that's what I enjoy the most. The historical styles and being able to make them a little bit better every time we do them. We certainly like the continual improvement process of it. But even our team. I mean, we have such a great crew of people that they don't leave. They stick around. They're part of something special, and we're all running forward together, and we carry each other. And Chris is a big part of that. And we've got so much support out there in the community, and we're just spoiled. And I don't know how I ended up being able to do this for a living, but here I am. So I'll take it.
Not a bad way to do it, that's for sure. Yeah. And for Chris, I'll ask you here before we wrap up. What surprised you most about Bruges when filming that you didn't expect going in?
A couple things. I think some of the things it's a little nerdy, but the light is different there. Especially as a photographer, you're really aware of light. And I think for me, there's times of year that I've been there, and this was a little bit of a different time. So it had a fairy tale quality to it. It's hard for it not to feel that way when you're surrounded by canals and architecture, what have you.
Mhm.
For me, the light was pretty incredible. And then also, I mean, there's so many little alleyways. There's so many little doors. There's so many little places that Ryan was even surprised a couple of times, which surprised me, where he's like, wait a minute, I don't think I've ever been down on this little, and let's just keep going. And it just constantly continues to surprise me, the beauty of it, the architecture, the culture, and honestly, I know this is super corny, the people are just so kind. It's a touristy place, but when you're off that main drag, you feel like you're in another world. And it really, the folks there, take the time to hang out. We'll talk your ear off about whatever, and everyone feels really welcoming. And that just makes your heart happy. You know what I mean? And then having a beer while doing it, come on. Nothing better than that. Nothing.
No, not that I can say.
No.
How hard was it leaving what you had to leave, though, when it cut in on the floor? I really wanted to fit in, but I just can't fit it in right. So
there's plenty. Just an absolute blast.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, before we go to wrap up here, like I said, we've been about an hour, so I don't want to keep you guys too much. And definitely, I can keep going. So, I mean, but Ryan, you're on vacation. Chris, you're into almost the evening now. So, I don't want Rachel getting me. Are you still talking to that guy? What can people expect going forward now into 2026 out of Bruz Beers? Like, what would you like people to kind of know? Get them excited about coming out to the brewery there in Colorado, and what to look forward to, and experience they might be missing. What do you want to put out there?
Sure. We're expanding, like I mentioned earlier, so we'll have a third location coming up. We're really excited about that. It's on the west side of town, which is right up against the mountains, so there's some tie-in there. So we're looking forward to announcing that officially here in the next 6 months, but we're already processing, working on that. So that's exciting for us. We brought on a new brewer, Brandon Sheen. He was at a really good brewery here in town that their lease ran out, and they decided to kind of move on. So we were able to pick up a really good brewer, and I think he's going to have some really good, exciting things on the plate there. So I'm looking forward to that, and really just getting out and having a beer with us on the patio. The summertime in Colorado is special. So
excellent. Anything you would add, Chris, or anything that you?
Absolutely. Listen, man, one of the things I love about Bruz, especially in the summertime, is there's like a lot of live music that comes out of that place. And there's nothing better than having kind of those local little kind of neighborhood concerts. There's an adjoining area in the Midtown where, bands will play in the little overhang, a little covered area, and just people come out, throw down a blanket, just have an absolute blast. And for me, just seeing the smile, seeing everybody happy, eating, drinking, having a great time. And I look forward to that stuff too. It's pretty special.
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get wrapped up here. And then I just realized I had a mistake on your name, Chris. Why did I have Adams on there?
I don't know.
Austin?
It's okay.
I apologize. I just saw that scrolling across. Like, wait a second. I ran through. I must have went through the email too quick, so I do apologize there. It's tough when you're doing directing, producing, writing, and everything.
There you go.
not to make excuses. I owe you some beers for that mistake. But
well, come on out here. I'd love to meet you face to face. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Great. But no, it's been great, and if you guys get a chance to get out there to the area, you're going to have soon 3 different locations for Bruz Beers. Are you guys going to be at the Great American Beer Fest? Have you decided or anything on that yet? Or?
No, we haven't decided yet. This year's format is completely different. And so, I like the fact that they're shaking it up and trying new things. I think that's the direction it needs to go. So the jury's out right now, but I think the Brewers Association, they've always been such a great advocate of breweries like ours in this country. So we support that effort, certainly.
Okay, excellent. But yeah, you get out to that Denver area, Colorado area, look them up. Look, are you guys? Oh, we never even talked about distribution. Are you basically you have to go to the brewery to get the beers, or are you going to be? Are you in
No,
some
we're
of the stores
we're
around town?
statewide. You know, you can
Okay.
get our beers within Colorado, but we have not distributed out of state. It's, you know, it's not really a mission of ours. It you know, it's a distraction that I don't think we want at this point. So you know, we'll stick with our tasting room model. We'll get this third location open and kind of look from there. But you got to come out to the great state of Colorado to have a good beer with us.
I haven't been. I got to get to Colorado. It's one of the states I haven't been to, and now
Love to have you.
Belgian, yeah, pretty much on the list. So definitely got to
Yeah.
head out there at some point. But thanks for you guys for coming on. If you want to hang out for a bit, we'll wrap up, talk a little bit after, and then we get it shut down from there. But appreciate you both being on for this evening.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And for those of you watching, I'll be back
Here's
Saturday
the
night.
cup.
Yeah, Saturday night, me and Dave will be back with the Midwest Beer Show. So make sure to tune in for that, 8 o'clock Eastern. And hopefully you guys all have a great rest of the week and look forward to talking to you all soon. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.